Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to install this hood scoop that I bought off eBay. It was about $150, and that included pre-painting it with 2 coats of base, or 3 coats of base coat and 2 clear. And it came with these instructions, these 2 strips, 2 screws, and the washers. And what I did was I located the center of the scoop on one end and on the other as well, and marked them with some tape, and that would help me locate it on the hood once I center it there. The other thing I did is, and I'll show you later how I use this, is I made a template, and this template was basically the exact shape of the scoop, and I'll explain later how I use that. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention is how to remove this hood insulation. Whenever you see the other videos like American Muscle, they just basically say pull off the clips. Well, it's not so easy just to pull off the clips. I went online and they said get a screwdriver and pop it off. Well, that's not easy, because then what it does, it just ends up damaging your insulation. Then I read another thing online that says try to use a fork. You could see what it did to the fork and mangled them trying to remove it. So instead, I just went down to O'Reilly's, bought this kit for 12 bucks. It came with this handy thing right here, and it was really easy. With this, you're able to scoop under the end, and then you just yank out each one of them. And the clips just look like this. And once you do that, you're ready to go on the top side. So the next thing I did was, you could see these tape marks. What I did was, I put the hood down, and I found the center mark for the front of where the scoop is to be. By the way, the scoop is supposed to be 8 inches, 8 to 8.5 inches from here. And so what I did was I put a center mark on the hood right here on this side with the tape, and then I put a center mark here, and then I aligned them with the marks I made earlier on the hood scoop on both sides. And then with that, I went ahead and made outlines with the tape of where the outside edges were all the way around. And that's pretty much the way it was. Here's the underside of the scoop, and what it comes with is 2 holes for 2 screws to hold it in place, along with this double-sided tape. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take off some adhesive, which goes here, stick it on this side, then the other side, then you put it on top of your hood, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. But before that, I just wanted to mention, as you can see, it's actually solid under this particular hood scoop, which is different from some of the other ones. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this hood scoop down to the car with extra screws, in addition to what these came with, just to make sure it stays down. So now with these strips, you put this down, realign it with the marks that you had put down earlier, and you really want to be sure that you have this stuff lined up just right. So I check here and my mark up in front. Double check is exactly the way you want it. Then what you do is you get some tape, and that's to hold the strips down. Then you remove the hood and the strips will stay down. So this is what it's going to look like once you remove the scoop. You'll have these scoops left over, these strips, and it'll show you where to mark your holes. As you can see, I have some other holes drilled out, and I'll talk about that in just a second when I lift up the hood. Okay, so here's the template that I actually cut out earlier, and I had marked where the holes were going to be on the underside of the scoop. And I marked it here, and what I did with that, I was able to drill holes, additional holes, aside from the 2 that it wants to put in. I put in a hole here, 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 and then down on the bottom, 2 more holes. So this is what it looks like after. And the reason why I did that is so that way the holes will end up going through where the scoop's at on the other side. And so those are the holes right there. So instead of just 2 screws, I'm actually going to use 5 screws to drill it in. So I'm going to show you again the underside of the scoop. As you can see, it's solid. And that's where the extra holes are going to go to. You have 2 holes that the screws were meant to go through, and then the tape. But what I'm going to do is have 1, 2, 3 screws. I'm just going to drill straight into this plastic. This is ABS plastic. Just drill it straight through on 3 spots, and then 2 down here, with the addition of these 2 along with the tape. So The kit didn't come with any alcohol, so I got some of this isopropanol that we have, just regular household alcohol, and I stole a couple of my wife's makeup pads. It's all cotton. And you got to wipe off the spot where the 3M tape is going to be connected. And that's part of the reason why I have this tape here. It tells me where the outline of the hood, where the scoop's going to be. And you want to be sure you go all the way around 3 or 4 times. So now I'm getting ready to have to install this onto the hood. What I did was I peeled back the corners of all the 3M tape, and as I peeled them back, I just fastened them with a little bit of Scotch tape. It's because you have so many different ends, you don't want them to like unravel and get stuck underneath when you're putting it down. It'll be easier. I'll show you how I'm going to install this in a minute. So what I did was I marked the holes, because this is black and it's hard to see underneath the hood where the holes are to start the screws on this. So what I did was I just grabbed a little bit of liquid paper and marked the holes white on both sides. So then with the helper, I'm going to have him hold the scoop on the other side of the hood while I look for the white markings underneath these 2 main holes, and I'll start the screws that way. So just wanted to show you I was able to start the 2 screws, and what I did was I just screwed them in just a few turns each way so that it's holding up the scoop, but yet it still should have some gap on the other side. So what I'm going to do now is lower the hood and take the tape off and try to stick it down, and then screw it tight, and then after that I'm going to come back and put screws all the way around. One thing I forgot to mention, since these screw holes are exposing metal, you definitely want to be sure that you have some sealant. Now the sealant that I have is adhesive, and it's a sealant, and it's clear. So I'm going to go ahead and glob a whole bunch in every single hole and be sure that it keeps it from water from coming in and also from rust beginning to attack the paint in the roof. Okay, so now I just lowered the hood, and as you can see there's some play here, and that will allow me to be able to pull this tape. So I'll remove all the tape, and I won't push down firmly until it's all off. Okay, so now I just want to show you I used the clear silicone adhesive and I jammed it inside the hole. I put as much as I could inside. You can see there's actually some leftovers there. Put a bunch in each one of those holes. So not only is it going to seal the whole hole itself, but I really want some to actually make connection with the inside of the hood scoop. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that I bought stainless steel washers, and these are stainless steel screws that were the same type that came with the kit, same size I should say, but these are stainless steel. So all I'm going to do is just screw them right into these different screw holes that I just made, and they will puncture and they will go through the bottom part or the floor of the hood scoop. So just went ahead and I screwed in, and I manually screwed with my hand. I didn't want to use a drill and just over strip it. I didn't want to strip out the plastic on the other side, so it just went nice and tight to each screw, and I wiped off the excess silicone all the way around. I think that's going to give it a nice strong grip on the top of the scoop along with the 3M tape, and that's it for the actual sticking on of the scoop. One of the things I wanted to mention is that here is one of the leftover tabs that I pulled off from this, and a lot of them just broke, and I just don't like this style tab because there's actually better ones. There's these kind here, and the way these work is it has like a tongue. So to remove them, all you got to do is pull out this tongue, and then the thing will pop out. And then it's so much easier to put them in, and to take them out without ruining them. I don't have to mess with that tool next time, just in case I ever take this thing off again. And these I got for $2.50 at O'Reilly's when I picked up the other tools. Alright folks, and that's the final product. Pretty happy how it came out.